Welcome to a deep dive into the fascinating world of the Arabic language. We're going beyond the basics today, uncovering how this language, spoken by millions across the globe, evolved from ancient inscriptions to become a truly global phenomenon.
What many people may not realize is that Arabic has a history full of surprises. It wasn't always the unified language we know today, and its journey is intertwined with the movement of people, ideas, and even empires.
Okay, let's unpack that journey, starting with its origins. I understand there's been some recent debate about the oldest known examples of Arabic.
Absolutely. For a long time, an inscription found at a site called Qaryat al-Faw in modern-day Saudi Arabia was thought to be the oldest example of Old Arabic, dating back to the 1st century CE.
It seems like every field has its own oldest find debate. What made scholars reconsider this inscription?
Well, as research advanced, linguists took another look at the Qaryat al-Faw inscription and realized its features didn't quite align with what we understand to be definitive characteristics of the Arabic language group. Imagine a family tree. This inscription seemed to be on a related branch, but not directly ancestral to Arabic itself.
So, if not the Qaryat al-Faw inscription, what are we left with as the earliest forms of Arabic?
This is where things get particularly interesting. There are inscriptions from ancient cities like Dedan and Tema that do exhibit characteristics of early forms of Arabic. To understand how these early forms emerged, we have to go back to ancient Arabia itself.
Ancient Arabia, it really does feel like we're stepping back into history here. Paint a picture for us. What was the linguistic landscape like?
It was far more diverse than many might think. Instead of a single unified language, ancient Arabia was home to a range of Semitic languages. In the north, you had ancient North Arabian, or ANA, while the south had its own distinct languages. Even languages like Aramaic, not directly an ancestor of Arabic, but influential nonetheless, were present in this fascinating linguistic melting pot.
It makes you wonder how, out of this diverse mix, Arabic as we know it today came to be. What were the key factors in its rise?
It's a fascinating story, and it seems poetry played a pivotal role. Around the 6th century CE, a refined poetic dialect, possibly originating from the court at Al-Era, began to gain prominence. This wasn't just everyday speech, it was considered elevated, almost musical in nature.
So a bit like if Shakespearean English had become the standard rather than a dialect used in plays.
That's a great analogy. And as this poetic language gained popularity, scholars stepped in to formalize its structure. Figures like Abu al-Aswad al-Duali, who is said to have established a system of grammatical diacritics in Arabic, and al-Khalil ibn Ahmad al-Farahidi, who created the first comprehensive Arabic dictionary, were instrumental in this process. They provided the foundational tools for Arabic to become a language of literature and scholarship.
It's amazing to think about those foundational elements of grammar we often take for granted had to be developed at some point. But what happened next? How did Arabic spread beyond the Arabian Peninsula?
The spread of Islam played a significant role. As Islam spread across continents, so too did Arabic. And as it journeyed, it absorbed influences from the diverse cultures it encountered. We see traces of Persian, Turkish, and even Greek woven into the fabric of the Arabic language.
Wait, Greek? As in ancient Greece, how did that happen?
It's a testament to the interconnectedness of history. In the 8th century, the Abbasid Caliphate, with its center in Baghdad, became a major hub of learning and translation. They translated texts from across the known world, including a wealth of Greek philosophical and scientific works. This influx of knowledge led to an influx of Greek terminology into the Arabic language.
That's remarkable, Arabic acting as a bridge for knowledge transfer between such different cultures. It really highlights the profound ways language and history are intertwined.
It certainly does. And this cultural exchange wasn't limited to the East. Consider the example of Maimonides, a Jewish philosopher living in Spain in the 12th century. He chose to write some of his most important works in Arabic, showcasing how widespread the language had become.
That's a powerful image, a Jewish scholar in Spain choosing to express his ideas in Arabic. It speaks volumes about the reach and influence Arabic had achieved, extending far beyond religious context to encompass intellectual and scholarly pursuits.
Arabic's journey across diverse cultures wasn't just about picking up new words along the way. It speaks to how languages evolve through contact, constantly adapting and changing as they encounter new cultures and ideas.
Absolutely. But that actually brings up a question that's been on my mind. When we talk about Arabic, are we talking about one unified language or many? Because that's where things get a little tricky for me.
It's a question that has fascinated linguists for centuries, and it lies at the heart of what we call diglossia, in Arabic. It's a unique characteristic of the language.
Diglossia. Okay, break that down for me. What exactly does that mean in the context of Arabic?
Imagine this.
Yeah.
You learn a language at school, in this case, we'll say Modern Standard Arabic, or MSA. It's the formal version you read in books, hear on the news, and use in official settings, but then you have the language you speak every day with your family and friends, your local dialect.
Okay, so far so good. Most languages have formal and informal variations.
True, but here's where it gets interesting. With Arabic, the difference between these two forms, MSA and colloquial dialects, can be much more pronounced. Imagine trying to read a newspaper article in, say, Moroccan Arabic. A dialect of Arabic, yes, but quite distinct from MSA. You'd likely recognize some words, but fully understanding the grammar and structure would be challenging.
So it's not just about a few slang words here and there. We're talking about significant differences in grammar and even sentence structure.
Precisely. And the key here is that neither form is considered better than the other. They both serve important purposes. Most Arabic speakers navigate both seamlessly, sometimes even switching between them in the same conversation. It's a fascinating linguistic dance.
It really highlights how fluid language can be. Is there a good way to visualize just how different MSA and the various dialects are? I mean, are we talking subtle variations, or is it more like...
Think of the Romance languages.
Yes.
Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian. They all descended from Latin, right?
Yes.
The relationship between those Romance languages and Latin is similar to the relationship between the many Arabic dialects and MSA. They share a common ancestor, but have evolved independently over time, each with its unique character and nuances.
Okay, that's a helpful comparison. So if I, armed with my knowledge of MSA, were to hop on a plane to Morocco, for instance, I might not have as easy a time conversing as I'd expect.
You might be surprised. You'd certainly catch familiar words, especially those rooted in classical Arabic, but fluent, everyday conversation would be tricky. It'd be a bit like trying to use Shakespearean English on the streets of London today. You'd get some strange looks.
That definitely puts it into perspective. So we've talked about how Arabic spread geographically and how this diglossia emerged, but what about its vocabulary? How did that diverse linguistic melting pot we discussed earlier shape the Arabic we know today?
That's a great question. You see, Arabic has always been remarkably adaptable, absorbing words and influences from its surroundings like a linguistic sponge. Even in the pre-Islamic era, languages like Aramaic and Ethiopic, present in that ancient Arabian melting pot, had a significant impact, lending words that are still in use today.
I'm curious about these borrowed words. Can you give us some examples? What kind of everyday terms have their roots in these older languages?
Absolutely. The very word for city in Arabic, Medina, has roots in the Aramaic word anta. And if you've ever admired the beauty of a tropical island,
Who hasn't dreamt of that?
the Arabic word for island, tazera, actually traces back to the Syriac word gezerata. It's truly fascinating to trace these linguistic lineages, see how words have journeyed across time and cultures.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of languages. It wasn't just a one-way street, though, was it? Arabic didn't just borrow words, it lent them out as well. I feel like I come across words with Arabic origins all the time.
You're absolutely right. Arabic has had a remarkable impact on languages around the world, extending far beyond the Middle East. This linguistic exchange is particularly noticeable in languages that have had close contact with Arabic, but even English, with its own unique history, has a surprising number of words with Arabic roots.
Okay, I have to ask. What are some of these surprising loan words? What words might we use every day without realizing their Arabic origins?
Get ready for it. Admiral, alchemy, coffee, even the word mattress. These are just a few examples of the many Arabic loanwords that have found a home in the English language, often entering through other languages like Spanish and Italian during centuries of trade and cultural exchange.
Mattress is a surprise. You'd never guess that has Arabic roots.
It's a testament to the enduring impact of Arabic. And remember our discussion about the Abbasid Caliphate translating Greek texts? Well, that exchange wasn't just one-sided. Arabic became a conduit for knowledge to flow back into Europe during the Middle Ages, particularly in fields like science, mathematics, and philosophy.
So it wasn't just about individual words being borrowed. Arabic was instrumental in transmitting entire concepts and fields of knowledge.
Exactly. And many of these Arabic terms became the standard in European scholarship, playing a similar role to Latin in earlier centuries. This highlights the pivotal role Arabic served, not just as a language of everyday life or religion, but as a driving force in intellectual innovation, a true bridge between East and West.
A bridge built on words and ideas. It really makes you realize that Even today, as we're speaking about Arabic, we're engaging with the language that has profoundly shaped how we see and understand the world. We've talked about Arabic's incredible journey, its evolution, its reach, its influence. But what about the script itself? It's visually stunning, no doubt, but I'll admit it's always seemed a bit mysterious to me.
It's a script that often sparks curiosity, even a sense of wonder, in those encountering it for the first time. And its history, much like the language itself, is full of unexpected twists and turns.
Well, you know I love a good linguistic mystery. Where do we even begin unraveling this one? Where does the Arabic script come from?
Its roots go surprisingly far back, to the Nabatean script, which was used in what's now Jordan around the 4th century BCE. If you look closely at the letter forms, you can see how the angular shapes of that Nabatean script gradually evolved into the more flowing cursive style of the Arabic script we know today.
So from inscriptions on stone in ancient Jordan to, well, podcast transcripts like this one, that's quite a journey for a writing system to make.
It is, and it's a journey with some fascinating detours along the way. For example, did you know that the order and even the forms of some letters developed differently in Western and Middle Eastern traditions?
Wait, so the Arabic alphabet itself wasn't standardized at first?
Precisely.
Yeah.
For instance, in the Maghreb, the western part of the Arab world, the letter fa had a dot underneath, while in the Middle East it didn't. Conversely, the qaf had a dot above in the Middle East, while in the Maghreb it didn't.
So even something as fundamental as the alphabet could look different depending on where you were in the Arabic-speaking world.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about the dots. The order of the letters in the alphabet, which also determined their numerical values, could vary as well.
That sounds like a recipe for confusion. How did they ever keep it all straight?
It certainly speaks to the regional diversity within the Arabic-speaking world, even at the level of writing. While most of the Arab world has now standardized on the Middle Eastern form of the script, remnants of these older variations persist, often in Quranic schools, serving as a tangible link to these fascinating branches in the script's evolution.
It's amazing how these linguistic artifacts can endure for centuries. Speaking of enduring traditions, we can't talk about the Arabic script without mentioning calligraphy.
Indeed. Calligraphy holds a special place in Arabic culture. It's more than just a way of writing. It's an art form, revered for its beauty and the skill required to master it.
You can say that again. The fluidity of the script, the way the letters flow into one another, it's mesmerizing to see a skilled calligrapher at work.
It's a testament to the artistic potential within the script itself. And unlike in the West, where calligraphy has become somewhat niche, it's still very much a living art form in the Arabic-speaking world, adorning everything from everyday objects to grand mosques.
It's a beautiful expression of the connection between language, art, and culture. But this discussion of the script's enduring presence brings up another, perhaps more complex topic: Romanization.
Ah, yes, Romanization, the idea of writing Arabic using the Latin alphabet. It's a topic that's been debated for over a century, often intertwined with issues of identity, modernization, and cultural preservation.
It seems counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to replace such a beautiful script? What were the arguments behind Romanization?
Well, in the early 20th century, with the Arab world navigating the complexities of colonialism and seeking paths to modernization, the idea emerged in several countries, most notably in Lebanon and Egypt. Proponents of Romanization saw it as a way to simplify the language, to make it more accessible to a wider audience, both within the Arab world and internationally.
So kind of like building a linguistic bridge.
Exactly. They argued that it would make it easier for people to learn Arabic, facilitate communication with other nations, and perhaps even accelerate scientific and technological progress. They viewed the Arabic script as, well, outdated, a barrier to progress in a rapidly changing world.
I can see how that line of thinking would emerge in that context, but I imagine such a radical proposition was met with resistance.
It was. Critics saw it as a form of cultural erasure, an attempt to sever the deep connection between the language, its script, and its rich cultural heritage. They argued that Romanization would diminish the beauty of the language, alienate it from its roots.
A clash between tradition and modernization.
Precisely. And in the end, tradition and the Arabic script prevailed. But the debate itself reveals the complex and often emotionally charged relationship between language, identity, and the forces of change.
It's a reminder that language is about far more than just words on a page. It's intertwined with our history, our culture, our very sense of self.
Indeed. And in the case of Arabic, that script, with its elegant curves and flowing lines, remains a powerful symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring legacy of this remarkable language.
Well said. We've journeyed from ancient inscriptions to global influence, explored linguistic quirks, and even grappled with questions of identity and change. It's been quite a deep dive. And on that note, we'll have to wrap up our exploration of the Arabic language for today. Thank you so much for joining us.